Hello, my frightful fiends. On February 21st, 1997, Art Bell was hosting his popular late-night radio program, Coast to Coast. The show, which had as many as 15 million nightly listeners at its peak, was known for its supernatural subjects and conspiracy theories, so most calls didn't faze Bell. But that day, a listener who called himself Mel Waters phoned in with a wild story.
You know, I used to be well, I would say pretty close to a professional shark fisherman, so I had a couple of huge fishing reels, went out there and started letting the line down. I figure after one...
Did you weight the line?
Oh, yeah. There's, in fact, the original line is still down there. I've just been adding to the line and keeping track of how much line I have used. So I've not reeled it in.
How much weight is on it?
There's a 1 pound weight at the bottom of it.
1 pound weight, all
1
right.
pound weight. It's a triangular 1 pound weight.
Okay.
And so that's at the bottom of it at first.
So in other words, it would go down kind of like a plumb bob.
Exactly. In fact, I have a rigged across the center of it there, and it goes straight down from the center there. And occasionally I try to move the line there, but when you're moving that much line, you really can't do a whole lot with it. But it seems to, there seems to be, it's not resting against anything at this point here, and it continues to go down freely. And so when I was out there earlier, I'd let out a little bit more line. And
so you actually went out there tonight after I read this?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, man.
Well, it's not too bad out here right now. It's only about 25 degrees, so it's not too cold.
Have you ever heard anything coming from any sounds or anything?
Well, the normal thing to do is kind of like yell into it there, to see an echo, and I've never heard an echo come out of that thing.
No echo.
At all. That's one of the first things I noticed about it. As usual, I brought the dogs with me. They wouldn't go anywhere near the damn thing, and I went back to the Suburban and hung out over there, so it was kind of if I try to bring them there on a leash, they'll just dig their feet in. They do not want to go anywhere near the hole. And so that's, I don't know. It's just...
Well, you've got miles and miles of...
Yeah, I think, I'm measuring it by feet. I convert feet to yards, so I don't know how many miles that is. I assume it's a fair number of miles, though.
Well, 5,280 feet is a mile, so you really think you've got 80,000?
Yes, yeah, I get line in 5,000 yard spools, and so I've gone through that many.
Well, you have got a hole then that goes, well, you can't say to the center of the earth, but you've got a hole that goes miles and miles and miles into the earth. I would think a university would be out there, boom, just like that.
Well, my wife does work for a local university here, and, we've been talking to them about it, and one of the things is they find it quite incredible that I've let that much line into the ground, but that's what I've been doing.
Have you ever thought of winding it all back up again?
Well, when I let out the first 1,500 yards of line, I reeled all of that back in.
Yeah.
And I wanted to know if I had hit water down there, because I thought that's a lot of feet.
You bet.
That's 4,500 feet of line. Did I hit water? So I did. What I did is I sent down a roll of lifesavers.
Lifesavers?
Yeah. So when it hits the water, the lifesavers will dissolve.
That's true. Oh, I see. So very smart. So
yeah, it's an old shark fisherman's trick there. We used to send our bait out on a balloon attached to a roll of lifesavers, and the bait would go out into the ocean on the tide.
Yeah.
And then eventually the lifesavers would melt, and the bait would fall to the bottom. You couldn't cast a big old mackerel out there that far. So
that's amazing. So, what do you got any guesses?
I don't. I have no idea. I thought it could have been a mine shaft, but the thing about it is the surface part of it's been very well cared for. I mean, someone built a very lovely wall around it. And
all right, tell me about the nature of the side of the walls. In other words, you must be able to look down far enough, at least, to examine the side of the walls?
Sure. It's stone for about 15 feet down.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's soil, dirt, and then, further down rock. But I can only see to the extent of, really powerful flashlight. I brought halogen lights out there to try to get a better look down there, but the visibility really isn't there. You cannot see much after a while. But it's a retaining wall. I'd say it's about a 3.5 foot retaining wall, and it goes down about 15 feet, and then it's...
Well, I'll tell you this much. No matter how powerful a light, and I was even thinking about a laser, when you're talking about 80,000 feet, forget it. No.
Well, they should have some technology that can give me an idea of how deep this thing is. I mean, obviously, the old fishing line method is only going to go so far.
What we need here is a volunteer. Real, I'm serious. Somebody who would be willing to be lowered into this hole.
Well, I don't. To be honest with you, I don't even know if there's any air down that far. I mean,
I wouldn't know about that either.
Or
that's
what
true.
kind of pressures we're dealing with. These are things that are totally beyond my grasp in terms of knowledge about these things. But
do you own this property?
It's our property, yeah.
How long have you been working on this?
Well, we've been out there for a couple of years. I said about 4 years now. But this project here with letting down the line, that's only been since last summer here, and it was just I said, well, how come this thing isn't filling up?
Well, sure.
And I talked to the neighbors around there, which are when you're out there in the country, your neighbors are pretty far away, but they all know the hole out there.
They all know about it, so it's
because they all bring their trash out there.
So the local legend of the hole.
Yeah, this could be an apocryphal story, but one guy claims that he threw his departed canine down into the hole.
Oh, really?
And he swears. Well, the story is the guy that did it swears the dog actually came back to him, and he was a hunter. He was a hunt. The story is that he was a hunter, and he was out there hunting, and he saw the same dog. He had the same collar. He had the same little little metal thing on his collar there, and he said it was the same dog. And he says he knew he threw the dog into the hole. But that's not my dog. That's not my.
It's not your story, but it's a story of a resurrected dog.
Yeah. This is as you can well imagine, this is all Native American land around here, and so one of the lines of inquiries I'd like to make is is there anything about this hole in regards to the Native Americans? That's something I haven't really pursued right now. But
if you had a fatal disease, Mel, would you jump in the hole?
I would.
You would?
Just
based on the dog story?
It is in my will.
What?
Should I meet my demise,
that you would be thrown in the hole,
disposed of into the well.
And sparked a decades-long search for a paranormal phenomenon that came to be known as Mel's Hole. In his report, Waters claimed that there was a bottomless pit on his property in Kittitas County, Washington, that boasted a range of magical properties, including the ability to bring dead animals back to life. But while the caller seemed very knowledgeable about Kittitas County and was most likely a local, investigations found no record that a Mel Waters ever lived in the area, and they found no evidence the hole actually existed. But Waters continued to call into the show, reporting to Bell a total of 5 times between 1997 and 2002 to reveal increasingly bizarre stories about Mel's Hole. Then, after the 5th call, Mel Waters was never heard from again. Mel Waters first called in to Art Bell's show to claim there was a mysterious hole of unknown depth on his property in Kittitas County, a small, rural area in central Washington. What's more, Waters said the hole had a number of peculiar properties. It lacked an echo, for instance, and animals were afraid to approach it. I brought the dogs with me, Waters said. They wouldn't go anywhere near the damn thing. He also claimed a black beam had been seen emanating from the hole. Portable radios held near it would play programs and music from years past, and metals held close to the opening would transform into other substances. At one point, Waters said his neighbor threw a dead dog into the hole, only for it to later be seen alive and well. Eventually, Waters claimed that the U.S. government had taken an interest in the hole. According to an archived summary of Mel Waters' calls, he claimed that government representatives had forced him off his land after he went public with his story, paying him $250,000 a month to lease the property. Mel Waters called into Bell's show once more in 1997, once in 2000, and twice in 2002. While he was seen as credible in the beginning due to his well-spoken and cautious nature, his stories became increasingly outlandish. Waters claimed that once he began speaking out about the hole, his wife disappeared and his land was removed from satellite images. He also said that while visiting a Basque settlement in Nevada, he encountered a similar hole with supernatural properties. Like the first one, this pit appeared to be bottomless, and animals were afraid to go near it. While experimenting on the second hole, the Basque people lowered a bucket of ice into it. Allegedly, the hole transformed the ice into a lukewarm, flammable substance that would not melt but could burn for months on end. In the most shocking claim, Waters also reported that he and the Basque people had lowered a sheep into this second hole to see what might happen to a living thing that entered it. By the time they raised the sheep back up, it had died, but now had a massive, pulsing tumor. When the Basque people cut the tumor open, Waters claimed, they revealed an 18-inch long creature that resembled a seal, but with shockingly human eyes. As Waters stared at this creature, he said it looked back at him with an expression of the deepest compassion. He said the Basque people then returned the creature to the hole. Mel Waters made one final report to Coast in December 2002. In it, he reported that the government has become aware of the second hole, that they took away the burning ice, and that he believed he was being followed. He also claimed the Basque people had informed him that the creature had visited their village a number of times since they'd brought it back to the hole, and tried to warn them about the dangers of the burning ice. This call was the last anyone ever heard from Mel Waters. Please like, share, and subscribe, and if you have any topics you want me to cover, leave them in the comments below.